Good morning and welcome to another Monday of Moms in the Morning, Moms in Real Estate in the Morning. I'm like still waking up over here from the weekend. But anyways, Kristen and I are so excited. We don't have a guest this week, but we are so excited to talk to you about really winning through summer, right? And so we want to talk about real life strategies and how we have not just survived summers, but we have taken our summer practices and actually put them into place to build thriving businesses that we love. So I feel like this is such a natural conversation for us. And I love that many listeners are going to tune in and they're going to think about like, how do I run my summer with having my kids afoot? Like, how do I keep my business going? How do I make sure my pipeline doesn't dry up? How do I show up at an appointment when I don't have a babysitter or I do have my kids? But this is Moms in Real Estate. So we don't just do this in the summer. Like we do this all day, every day, even conferences, events. I did an event this week, Kristen, and it was our National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. And it was like a big event at a hotel casino. And when I got there, this mom like sought me out and was like, hey, are kids allowed? Because I'm going to have a kid problem in like an hour. I've got to pick my kid up from school and I don't know if they're allowed, but I see you have yours. And I was like, I don't know if they're allowed either, but she's here.
Yeah, but I don't even ask.
Yep, exactly. I'm like, if you're inviting me, I'm a mom in real estate, expect a kid to be there.
I totally agree. And I think that is like, look at, of course, he like, like I hear you guys.
He was like right on that.
Well, what's funny is like, for Moms in Real Estate, he's popped in since he was a baby. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool. Just like, don't get in your own head about the fact like they're home and you're stressed out if people see them. Like it just is what it is. And I think that giving yourself some grace. One thing that I have really tried to do that's helped me, like this morning, I'll give you guys an example. My alarm goes off at 5 o'clock and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get 3 hours of work before anybody even gets out of bed. And so I did that. I got so much work done before they got up. Then I could make pancakes, hey, Mom, go to the gym. Is Courtney here? He's like, and also, you know what he does? He knows when I'm on stuff like this. He's like, this is the time.
That's what he's going to ask the question.
He's going to ask.
This is so smart. He's like, wait, I'm going to ask her the question she can't say no to right now live.
Always. So
I think that that's really good. And I love that you do that all the time. In fact, I've traveled with Kristen and that's literally how she handles me. She's like, before I'm awake, she's already like conquered half the day. So I love that. But I also like vacations is where I learned that works, right? So I had that morning power hour, like when we went on vacations, where I would get up before everybody else. And I would spend an hour to an hour and a half going through things. So I think that combined with your morning power hour, so whether that's 1 hour, whether that's 2, whether that's 3, that is going to be depending on what your business looks like, right? And what type of, amount of clients and volume and what you want your pipeline to look like 90 days from now. But in addition to the power hour, I would also say, Kristen, that it's really important to identify your rocks and know what it takes to win your day. And so like, if that is X amount of, calls or dials or reach outs or whatever that is, identify that and eat that frog, do that in that power hour in the morning so that if the day does go haywire, you're only worried about like inbound and you didn't avoid doing the prospecting to where your business is going to dry up, right? So a power hour combined with making sure that the things that winning your day, your rocks, your frogs are taken care of is going to be the magic, right?
Yeah, I love that. I'm actually building mine out today for summer because it's going to look different than when they were in school. And this is basically our first week of real summer because we're on vacation, but I'm building out my rocks and identifying like what are the things that I want to make sure that I do every day during summer and have those done before they're up. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, I love that too. So another tip I would say, so in addition to like that morning power hour, like work buddies, if you're not already thinking about where you can inject your kids in your business, this is something that is near and dear to us. This is probably our second favorite thing to the Augusta rule, which Augusta rule is another topic, another day, but Chris and I are obsessed with it. But also actually starting to pay your kids for their business. Summer is a perfect time to build that muscle. You can find little ways to make them feel included, right? So maybe it's Popeyes, maybe it's stuffing envelopes. That's where you can start to get them acclimated and like start to get that working dynamic where you're doing it. But it also should get your brain going on like, wait a minute, what if this isn't just for the summer? What if I do this, year round? And what if I'm able to start, paying, and this money could go to their IRA, things like that. So we don't want you to just think about how you're going to survive summer with your kids. We want you to think about how you're actually going to create, long lasting impact in your kids' lives based off of summer and your business, right?
I'm like dying that you said that, because that was so not planned. And when I talk about like getting so much work done before they were up this morning, it was literally me getting caught up on my Augusta role and my kids' contract with me, because I pay them and it's going to look different this summer. And so if you can see like
You don't pay us. It's not going in your pocket. It's going into an account so that you have it later.
I'm thinking about not giving it to you. But if you see on my fridge right here, like this morning we wrote down like things that they have to do. And so I actually was like, when I was doing that with Lucas, I was like, I've got to like refigure out like what you guys are doing in my business this summer too. So I love that you said that.
Me too. And I mean, my kids all the way into their 20s. I mean, like obviously now Jordy is, salaried permanently with me. But the boys have been on open house crew. They've been on Popeyes. They've been on all the things, and open house crew for a long time. My boys were on there, and that was like a permanent thing that they got a set pay amount for every single month. So I think that that's really important. And also I think we should talk about like leveraging the summer slowdown for more intentionality. A question that Kristen and I get a lot, and that I get being in production, is like, how do you produce and how do you sell, the amount of houses you sell and have kids afoot all the time? And so I built my business with my own kids afoot, and now I still run my business with my grandkids, right? And so I think that another thing in summer is you should start to slow down and think about like, what are the areas that I want to make connection? What are the projects I want to do? Like, what do I want to really do in my life to connect with people so that summer slowdown becomes your way of life? Like, do you feel like that? Do you feel like you just want to slow things down a little bit?
Yes, 100%. Like I want to be done around lunchtime, and then I can go take them to go do something. The other thing is like, I work with a lot of my friends. Like a lot of my friends are in real estate with me. And so we have, like I have a meeting with one of my partners, Lisa, on tomorrow, and she has a Top Golf membership. And she said, let's meet there at 1 and we'll bring all the kids. They can do Top Golf while we do our work, right? So I'm really excited about that. And I do that all summer long. I do trampoline parks. I do, skateboard parks, whatever I can with other people. And then we bring our kids, and our kids are happy because they're going to play with their friends,
So good. And it's funny that we like limit we have the limiting beliefs that like, okay, it's acceptable for us to like do this in the summer. Like it's okay to work till 12 or 2 in the summer. But then as soon as summer's over, it's like, okay, we got to get back to school. And you may need to, right? You may be in a season where you have to do that. But I can tell you that I've built a full-time income on a part-time effort, right? I can sell $15 to $20 million of real estate a year working 20 hours a week. And you can do that if you start to put these things in practice. It's and again, also, like I think a lot of our moms, one of the things we hear over and over and over is like the fear. They don't even go for it because they're worried they're going to be not professional or it's not going to be received well. And the other day I pivoted my Bible study. It's a women's Bible study. And I was like, I need to pivot to an ice cream shop. And I was like, so I bring Amaya, because that's what I do. Right. And then like 4 other moms brought kids, or we had like 4 other kids, and it worked out perfect. And so like, just do it is one of the things I want to say. And so what else are your thoughts around summer that they can do, Kristen?
I mean, I do really want to go back to even like the idea of like doing your meetings with other people and their kids too, but also leaning into your other mom friends that maybe they don't have a business or they don't work. And really having conversations with them like, hey, like I have to work this summer. Is there like, is there any way like we can swap, right? So I do this a lot too, where I'm like, drop your kids off when I'm working from home. That actually helps me, right? Because then all the kids are
they have somebody to entertain them.
And then also like I can drop them off when I'm actually in my work hours. So just like, don't be afraid to have those conversations. I think that a lot of times we're scared to ask them, but just build good enough relationships where it's like, hey, like I need help today, and have those people that you can call.
Yeah. And I think to piggyback on that, kid hours and client hours are super important. And I think articulating them is really powerful, right? It sets really good expectations. So being able to say like, hey, these are my kid hours, right? I tell my grandkids, like, this is the time that my time is not going to be divided. Like, I'm going to be 100% yours. And so they will leave me the heck alone until that time. Now understand that if you do this, like, you have to honor those, because my grandkids will be like, all right, you're done working. They'll like take my phone away or whatever. But it's the same with clients. Like, if you say to clients, hey, I'm going to be totally available for you up until this time, they'll respect that. The problem is that we don't articulate it, right?
I agree. Look at the note I just got.
Okay, well, Courtney text circle. Did Courtney text you? Or did they want to go with Courtney today?
Yes or no? So I asked. So my sister's picking them up in any minute.
I love it. I think one other thing is play hard and post hard. So all the time we hear moms say like, oh, I want to do content, but I don't know what to do. Like, this is the perfect opportunity to start helping people understand that you are a mom, but you're a mom in real estate. You're a mom that is doing real estate. So like, this is a perfect opportunity to say, I'm writing the contract at the pool. I'm doing this in between, right? Like today, I am absolutely showing up here in Moms in Real Estate. I'm going to do some stuff for my clients and some of my sales. I'm going to do some meetings. And then like, I'm going to go build the swing on our property. Like, let them understand and see that, so that they think of you. And also, don't underestimate how many people want to work with moms in real estate. I think that's another problem, is that the old school mentality is that like people want the professional, but like even with doctors, Kristen, and I think I've shared this before, but when my son was sick, yes, I wanted the best doctor. I wanted the doctor that knew all the things. But at the end of the day, I wanted the doctor to treat me the way he would treat my son, the way he would treat his son. So I wanted a doctor that was a dad, because I wanted that doctor to like tell me exactly what he would do with his child. Like, they want people that actually have families. And so stop hiding that, like share that, post that.
Yeah. And I think that there's also like, obviously like we're doing a live in Moms in Real Estate. So I'm a little bit more flexible with my kids, like running around and coming on the screen. Yes. If I was doing a buyer consultation or something like that, that wouldn't happen, but it also would be a full conversation with my kids beforehand, setting expectations. And so I think too, just like knowing like when you're scheduling the meetings, like really like what kind of meeting is this? And like, should my kids be walking around in the background the whole time? I don't know. I feel like that's also something.
I think it's super important. And I think that you hit it on the head, because like even events. So I talked about like, taking my granddaughter to an event. I've taken them to listing appointments, but I do think you have to be aware, right? Like, if you're going to be distracted and you're not going to be able to show up and give the person the service, like you said, this is completely different. We're having a conversation with other moms. You obviously didn't expect the boys to be like needing you right now, but it is. So it's like, why make it a bigger deal than it needs to be? Because this is a flexible, safe space. But if it was a client consultation, it would be the moment to be like, can you give me 2 minutes? And then go tell the boys, like, hey, take a hike for 30 minutes, whatever, however that works. And so I do think it's important to, one thing I always say is like, bring your kids, but please, for some reason, if they like have a meltdown, just step out of the room, right?
Yes, totally.
I think that's important. So I think we covered everything that we wanted to talk about today, the power hour, and then obviously packing that power hour with your rocks, like what needs to be done, turning your kids into work buddies, and ideally paid work buddies. If you haven't, you can go back on our YouTube channel. And I think we've talked to Barb, who is your tax coach on Instagram, about strategies, and that should be on our YouTube channel for bringing your kids into the business. We talked about client connections, right? Like making them on the go, setting up those play dates, leveraging that time. We've talked about like the slowdown, and maybe evaluating that the slowdown should be in your business permanently. The kid hours, posting hard, playing hard, all the good stuff. The bottom line is what we want you to take from here is we want you to be inspired. And whether you're already in the business and crushing it, or you're brand new, remember that business can be built by design, and it can look any freaking way that you want it to look. It can have your kids afoot. It can, it can be completely niched down, but it should be life-giving to you. And if your business is not life-giving to you, then lean into us. Fun fact, I actually offer strategy calls for our Moms in Real Estate, so you can book one of those with me. But don't have a business that is sucking the life out of you. There's no reason to do that in 2025. No reason.
There really isn't.
No, you should love what you do. So anyways, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Moms in Real Estate in the Morning. I think we're 20 days from summer officially, right? So start thinking about what you want your summer to look like.
Wait, you're not in summer yet?
You're not in summer either. You're not in summer. We don't we're in different time zones, but we're not in different season zones.
Well, I mean, like, I thought you meant summer for the kids. I'm like, wait.
Oh,
I'm like, I'm
that
in
makes too
summer.
much sense. Well, no, because fun fact, we're in homeschool, so I don't even know what grade they're in at this point.
Totally. No,
But
we're out of
so no,
school.
because yeah. But the reason I use summer so specifically is because I know you're used to heat. But this weekend we worked on the compound. That's what we call our property. And so we built a swing, which, oh my gosh, that you should see me on the swing. It's horrible. But anyways, we built the swing and we built like a pergola over our barbecue area. And so we were working outside and I was like dying. And I was like, I'm never moving to Arizona. The whole time I was outside this weekend, I'm like, I'm never moving to Arizona. But my husband came in this morning and was like, it was so hot this weekend and it's 20 days until summer starts. And so he was just so taken aback that it was so hot and it wasn't summer. That's why I knew that off the top of my head.
It is hot. It is hot.
Yeah, but you are right. You're right, 100%. I think everybody's out of school by this point. So, but get intentional, win your summer, keep your pipeline packed. And if you need more support, tune into Moms in Real Estate in the Morning. Bye guys.